Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And today we're going to go back in time and talk about the original first draft, I guess you would say, of the Super Mario Brothers movie script, back before it was not even a sci-fi movie yet. Not Blade Runner Mario Brothers, but it was almost a fantasy movie, but still like in the live action kind of feel.
Yeah, it was one of those things where there's this one channel that I started watching recently on YouTube called Gaming Historian, and they kind of cover all kinds of things on that channel. It can go as much as like, okay, here's your average, like history of Mario or something like that. But then it can go into something like as much as here's how Game Genie got started. Here's a lawsuit between Nintendo and Game Genie. Just these really crazy over-the-wall things, and in detail. And it's not like, I feel like a lot of times, not always, but a lot of these kind of channels try to pander. It's kind of like something like Dorkly. It's like, this year in nerd history. Just like, all right, you're trying too fucking hard. Well, this guy, his name is Norman Caruso, and I just fell in love with his channel, and I just came across one on the Mario movie, and I felt like I already knew a lot about the Mario movie, but then listening to this, like, wow, there's a lot more I didn't know about. And then he mentioned the Super Mario Brothers archive website at the end of it, so I went and checked that out. And I haven't reached out to any of these guys, but I just want to say their names right now before I forget. It's ran by a guy named Ryan Haas. He's a site founder, and you can find him at SMB_Ryan, and Stephen Applebaum, I think that's how you pronounce it, editor-in-chief of public relations, and he's at SMB Movie on Twitter as well. So just want to give those guys a shout-out for just making this awesome website and archiving all this stuff I never knew existed.
Yeah, and the cool thing is if you just go to smbmovie.com, there's just like a ginormous fucking like special features list of everything towards the Super Mario Brothers movie. So if you're like me and Ryan here who just think this movie's fucking like one of the best movies of all time, this site is like so cool because it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many cool things here. Because, you know, the DVD and everything like that, you don't really get special features or anything like that. I heard like the German version has. It's like, why did the Germans get everything great? It's like, well, we don't get blood and violence, so fuck you. We get Mario Brothers special features.
That's just funny to me. Just like you go over there, like this is Star Wars in Germany. Like, yeah, we love the movie. We find out that in Germany there's like 3 sequels that never made it over here to the States.
And they got Bob Hoskins and like John Leguizamo in it too. Like they just like, we just never heard of it. It's not even on the IMDb page. It's only on IMDb German edition.
Well, it's like you'll find out, like our friend Wes went to Japan a little bit ago. It's weird. Actually, they have a lot of American actors doing like Japanese commercials for Japanese products. We never know about it. Like,
well, and they do that all over the world too. Like, it doesn't have to be just Japan, but even in like South America and so on, there's all kinds of actors that'll go over there and get paid for that.
Yeah. But the thing is, he said, like, everywhere we were going, we just saw Tommy Lee Jones all over all these coffee ads. So it's one of those things, like, you go to Germany, just like John Leguizamo and Mario. Like, John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins as Mario. Like, oh, dude, that's like our favorite fucking movie.
Yeah,
I'm wondering why they got the super special edition.
I don't know why. Well, I don't even think it's like super special edition. I think it's just partially more special edition than what we have. I think it's probably got, it might have one of those like 10-minute like features that you used to see, like the special features on TV, where it'd be like, this week, we're seeing Super Mario Brothers and how it was made. Hi, I'm your host. Like, and we're going to go back into a fantasy realm, video game style. And then the guy's like walking down like this like kind of nice set in like a suit talking to you like he's your best friend, but he's totally not.
You'd see that all the time back when a big movie was coming out. They'd have like I guess that made a lot more sense then because it was before the internet. So you'd have like, we're going to talk about the upcoming blockbuster, the remake of Godzilla from the creator of Independence Day, and have like a 30-minute special on like whatever channel.
Yeah, well, and it was just a way to kind of promote the movies too, I think. Also to just like, get your ass out of the chair and go to the movie theater chair.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember seeing one. I looked up one of these on Mario, and I remember finding one. It was kind of the same thing. Like, and now we present you a special music video from the band Roxette. And it has that song, Almost Unreal, that's at the end of the credits. They show the video to that, where it's just a kid sitting like in some weird virtual reality chair. Like clips of the movie are popping up as it's supposed to be like he's playing the game or playing the movie. And then by the end, he gets turned into like a lizard.
Yeah, just those ones like, oh, yeah, well, I think we got this down. But going into what we're talking about here with that Super Mario Brothers script, and this is like what they call the original fantasy script, you know, revised in 1991 of July, and it's written by a guy named Jim Genuine and Tom S. Parker. And God knows who's writing what, you know, but there's two guys on here putting this thing together, and those are the guys that did, or at least, who's the one who did Rain Man?
Well, that's the thing. I remember hearing multiple times people saying the guy that worked on Rain Man worked on the original scripts. And I was looking on IMDb. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I'm just blind. I didn't see either names attached to Rain Man. Maybe he came in and did some punch-up writing and left his name off it, possibly.
Yeah, because I don't see that either on there. None of these guys have their names. I just assumed it's like...
I heard that from 3 different sources, and going through this whole website, maybe I missed it somewhere in there, but going through this whole website, I didn't see any of the writer from Rain Man on there or anything like that. So, but, you know, whatever. I'm sure he probably had some kind of hand in it. If that many people are saying he did, I'm guessing maybe he just did like a punch-up. Like Tarantino did some punch-up work, so did Kevin Smith, so something like that possibly.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times that kind of happens. There's kind of like a little bit of Ghost Riders or something like that going on.
Donald Glover apparently did a little bit of a punch-up in writing for Black Panther, so I think that shows.
Yeah, those things happen. But and this script though is one of those ones where sometimes you kind of always wonder, it's like, oh, okay, well, I wonder what this is going to be like. What's that initial script like? And even though it's like, you know, we love the Mario Brothers movie a lot, you know, there's always going to be somebody out there who fucking is just ungrateful little bastards. But other than that, like reading this script, I was like, oh my god, like whoever put this together fucking did their research. It wasn't just like one of those ones like, hey Jim, you want to come down and write a Mario Brothers script? Like, what the fuck's a Mario Brother? You know, shit, how much does it pay? I don't know, I'll give you $10,000. Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. You know, like one of those ones. But no, this one's like, just going through the whole thing, it's like, dude, this person, like, they literally sat down. If they didn't play Mario Brothers beforehand, shit, did they sit down and go through the whole game of 1, 2, 3, and World, and just got like all this stuff kind of lined up on like how to make this movie. Because it's just like one of those ones like, all I picture is just, I mean, maybe these guys at this time, let's say they're around like age 30, maybe to 40. But even still, that is like kind of old for like the material they're working on.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I remember I was just curious. Because I heard the original script was way more fantasy oriented and way more of kind of like went over the tone of like Wizard of Oz, Princess Bride, and Indiana Jones. I'm like, oh, okay. And reading it, I'm going to say roughly probably the first 20 or 30 minutes of the movie. It's almost like kind of a, not overly dark, but it is kind of like a little bit of moments of kind of intense drama. It feels like, I was like, I see the Rain Man writer in this. Because like Mario we're going to go into spoilers in this, so if you actually want to go out and read the script, it's on the Super Mario Brothers archive website.
Yeah, we assumed if you showed up for the podcast that we were going to already talk about it. It says it like in the title.
Well, you never know. But anyway, so it kind of because like
I feel like Mario really because I feel like Mario like fucking Luigi.
You stupid fuck.
Yeah, stupid fuck. Quit making designs out of our pipe. We only got so much of it to use.
Well, no, there's like I was just saying maybe some people just want to like hear about the concept rather than what actually happens. But no, I get what you're saying though. No, but going into that though, it is one of those things where Mario is like this gruff, angry plumber. He's not really, even Bob Hoskins was kind of gruff and kind of like tough love, but you could see he was a lot more like, I guess, gentler and nicer with Luigi, where this is just, Mario's just an angry son of a bitch. Every so often we'll like do like a parody of like, you know, Mario being angry or whatever, like, I can't believe this fucking bullshit or whatever, gotta save the fucking princess. It really shows in this.
Yeah, Mario is like the most, when he starts off, it's like he starts off as just the most angry, like, working class Brooklyn guy who can't like seem to make enough money. He literally gets to the point where he has to take money from the mob to keep his business alive. And that's like his like driving motivation in life, is just to pay these guys back.
And that whole part where, because plus he's dealing with his brother, he's dealing with Luigi, and they get across that like Luigi is kind of a, I think they do, even though Mario at times seems a little crueler than he probably needs to be, they get across that Mario is like, he loves Luigi and he cares for Luigi, but he thinks he's a fucking idiot. And Luigi doesn't, he kind of loves everything else around him, but he does care for Mario, but he doesn't realize or appreciate all the shit Mario kind of goes through, and not in like a disgruntled kind of like, fuck you, big brother, but more in a way of just kind of aloof. Like, they'll be like, their last couple quarters, Mario's like, okay, this is going to last us for the week. And then Luigi hands it off to some bum. And Mario's like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, he needs the money. We need the fucking money.
Shit, we're gonna be living out in the fucking streets, Luigi, if you keep giving away everything we got.
It feels like it almost could be kind of like a Rain Man, like a David Mamet script at the beginning. Just like this guy, this like working class guy has to watch out for his like dumb brother who's just gonna like beat the death of him.
But his brother still has like all these like weird like qualms. Like he's actually talented at a lot of things. It's just like he doesn't get normal like situations, and it's almost like he's living almost like too freely in life.
He is kind of like almost hippie-ish, yeah. Like there's the part where they're trying to fix something. Mario's like, hand me some kind of, hand me like a tool, and he hands him the wrong tool. Like, that's not the right tool, you fucking knucklehead. And he's like, I'll be right back. Don't fucking touch anything. Walks out of the room. And then Luigi kind of starts like assembling pipes, starts like playing like a drum, starts like having fun, and just starts playing music. And then like Mario walks in like, what the fuck is this shit?
And he makes like an art piece out of these like pipes is what he ends up doing. He's like, we need that fucking material for the next job, you fucking mook.
Yeah. And it's one of those, there's even a part where like, cause you know, Luigi is seeing this girl named Hildy, who's essentially just would be Peach. And
I really actually, I'll say this, I think she's supposed to be more Daisy, because like Luigi even brings her flowers and he's like, I brought you some daisies.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I think,
and the only I mean, I know you say it's a princess, but like Daisy's also a princess too.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, I feel like I might be wrong here. I feel like because Princess Peach, she wasn't called Peach in America at least until Mario 64, and then I think they just called her. Well, we can't call this girl Toadstool the whole time. And then I think they're like, oh, let's just call her Hildy. Sounds nice. And then we'll go through
like
some drafts.
It's like such a random name though, Hildy. Like, look at that. It's like that has to be like that's like the guy's like dog or something. Like, there's no other like. It's not just like a common name. Like, oh, you know, old Hildy there. It just even sounds like some weird old German name that's kind of thrown in for it.
Maybe they're trying. Maybe there's something going back to old like German lore or something with that. Who knows? But then anyway, then they go and they I think that eventually they looked and like, oh, you know what? There's this game called Mario Land, and in Mario Land she's called Daisy. Really? Okay, let's just call her Daisy instead. I feel like that's what happened, and then because I think they probably even know that was two separate characters.
Well, yeah, well, that's where I feel like that, which is always so weird. It's like, you went to go pull the princess's name from which game? Mario Land for Game Boy? That was the one you chose? It just sounds so weird. Like, yeah, that was the one I was going to pick up one game, and that was the one game I went for.
I feel like it's just more one of those things like that's the one name. Like, oh, this is the one where she actually has a first name. I mean, I'm not gonna decipher all this shit from Japanese. Let's just go with this one. It's written right here in the fucking instruction manual.
Yeah, well, I think also because Daisy sounds like a normal name. It's like Princess Toadstool is always fucking weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Luigi's seeing this girl on the side, and
well, he's not really seeing her. He's more just shows up to her like flower shop and just kind of goofs around. And always like, Mario, I really want to tell her. How do you tell her you love her? You know what I mean? I mean, you love somebody once. Luigi, that was a horrible time. I had a wife once, and when we were about to get married, she went off with the catering guy. Don't you fucking remind me, Luigi. Don't you fucking bring it up. I just picture them just sitting there like in their boxers, like fucking sweating it out, because it said they had like bunk beds in like a dangy like one-bedroom apartment. Like, don't you fucking bring it up, Luigi.
Well, he didn't even say it like that. I actually like that scene. That scene came across very real because he's sitting there. He's like, just because you were hurt by a woman, once Mario just looks at him, he's just like, you mean Brenda? You could say a name. I'm over it.
He's like throwing darts at like a fucking dartboard of her face. Like, yeah, you could say it, fucking Luigi.
They just have like this. They just have this board of just all these pictures of her, like in her new husband at the catering guy or whatever. Yeah. She ran away 3 days before the wedding for a fucking caterer.
And you know, I feel like that's like such like a blue like collar guy's like, a fucking caterer. I'm a plumber for fuck's sake.
Well, I think that's one of those things. It's not like it's like, oh, she left him for some guy in finance or business, but just like cater one step, like just a few steps ahead.
Yeah, a few steps ahead or maybe a few steps below it. I don't know. It's like depends on like what kind of catering it sort of is.
I think Prince, I guess she's like, he's not coming home smelling like shit every day. So,
Yeah, he's not fucking working in the pipes in New York.
but there's that whole scene. She's like, you want to know what you do? If you want love, get a cocker spaniel. And if it don't work out, leave it in the fucking park.
I know that part I was like laughing so fucking hard. It's like this is such a fucking dark thing. It doesn't fucking work out. You just ditch it out there. You just do one of those things like in the movies and go, be free, you get out of here. We don't need you anymore.
Well, I like that Mario is just so. I mean, now if that came out, don't be wrong. If someone made a fan movie of this now or a comic or something, I would love to see that. But I think if this was like someone's first interpretation of Mario today, like on a big screen or small screen, however you do it, people would probably say he seems a little too angry. But it's interesting. But at the same time, though, this is also at a time where there wasn't very many variations. He was just some pixelated little guy. And even what all he really had to work with at this time, like just story-wise, was just probably, if you look long enough, maybe the random Nintendo Power Comics. But aside from that, the animated series, and even that, even though he was a nice guy, he still had kind of, it's me, Mario. He's like, he had the gruff Italian
Brooklyn accent.
And I'll be honest, even though I know the staple is let's go and all that, I prefer him being a little bit more gruffer and angrier. I think that's one of the things. So if they do make this animated Mario movie that they've been teasing for like 3 years or whatever, that voice might wear thin quickly if it's saying full sentences and paragraphs throughout the whole time.
Yeah, well, I don't know. If they do it Japanese style, he won't talk very often because Mario's kind of like Link, where he just fucking shows up and doesn't have to say much, and people just talk shit to him, and then he goes and does the work.
I think that would be a smart way to go about it, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be by elimination, so it's like, oh, okay, we'll see what happens. But,
oh, yeah, that fucking sucks. But, yeah, I'd rather just see the old-fashioned gruff Mario where it's just like, come on, Mario, this is fucking working class.
Well, it's even one of those things, like, some of the things he says, like, Mario, I wish you would take money from Big Eddie's. He's like, it was either my kneecaps or Chapter 11. So it was one of those things where, like, I'm surprised. Like, they have a whole subplot where Mario's like, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back. And since he won't bribe the some guy working in city management or something like that, he's not giving Mario any of the good jobs. So out of that, there's a part where he goes in. He says, I remember, I don't have the page here exactly, but basically he goes to his receptionist. It says, like, I need to talk to him. He's like, he's busy. He's like, for look, it says there's history here. He says, yeah, I'm sure. He's going in there. He's playing golf. Guy essentially tells Mario to fuck off. He didn't pay him. He didn't take any of the bribes. And he calls him a greaseball shrimp. And they get across the Mario is very sensitive about his height. And he's like, it's not the fact that he said a racist slur. He's like, get out of here. He says, greaseballs? No. What's the other thing you called me? What's the other thing?
And then I just want to see what that fucking like scene is, because it just cuts to like Luigi's outside. He's got like a fucking bottle on his nose, like fucking entertaining like the inner city kids, like a fucking clown. And then all of a sudden the fucking expensive ass golf clubs come flying out the window, which also means that there's probably like some fists thrown and so on too.
I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be like a 2-story window or anything like that. I assumed it was probably, at ground level. So I assumed the guy was going to go flying out the window at first.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought the golf clubs were going to come out, and then the guy was going to come flying out and like land on a car or something like that. Like, fucking take that, motherfucker.
And Mario's outside, we got to go.
He's like, hey, kid, you want to hear about a story about a genie in a lamp? Like, yeah, we do. Your kids like mushrooms?
I got plenty of those.
I like how they always get across it. Like there's like a part where like they're eating spaghetti at home, and Luigi's like, "But Mario, I always like when there's mushrooms in it." And like Mario's just like, "But fucking poor Luigi, can't afford everything." He's like, "Yeah, but it's just not the same." Like, shut the fuck up, Luigi, and eat your goddamn fucking spaghetti. We're fucking Italians. We don't eat anything else. If I catch you a fucking Chinese takeout again, I'm gonna throw you through the fucking window like I threw those golf clubs.
Says, remember what Papa said? Never go to Chinatown.
Just a bunch of chinks there. Yeah, I said it.
Whoa. Like, can we just back up? Like, it just really quickly went to like a Martin Scorsese movie right here.
It's like, I ain't being racist. Being Italian has its own perks, you know what I mean? Hey, who gets made fun of more, huh? Italians or Chinese? You tell me that.
Just like way more. Then it just entirely loses that tone once they go to the fantasy aspect.
Luigi's like, I'm gonna go eat my spaghetti outside. You put a fucking sweater on, Luigi. Don't want you getting a cold. We got fucking work to do tomorrow.
That's where it's out there. He's like, it plays Luigi's theme.
Yeah, which I really want to know what Luigi's theme is, because it comes back around too, like a couple times in the movie.
There's also that's where he has like a nightmare. We forgot to mention the very beginning. The very, very beginning. It's should probably just get this part out of the way. It's kind of similar to the actual original opening to the movie, which is somebody is not dropping off an egg in front of a church, but dropping off a baby. And then it's an old man. He's cutting through an alley. And then we see some dark figures cloaked, and they're also wearing armor. They're like, where'd you go, old man? And then, he dies. And at some point, he has like a locket of a mushroom that goes down a drain. And the I guess they're Koopa Troop. I think they're supposed to be the Hammer Brothers. It says they're masked and all that, but I'm assuming they're the Hammer Brothers, the guys that are all cloaked. And then after the old man dies of a heart attack, like something I said, and they cut to present day. Anyway, Mario then has Luigi has a nightmare about Hildy getting kidnapped. And then Mario wakes up and he's like, Mom, you go the fuck to sleep, Luigi.
It's just fucking jerking off in the bed. Don't pay any attention here.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Just like, go the fuck to sleep.
This is gonna give us some gas money for tomorrow. Those quarters you gave that fucking bum? I gotta make it back the hard way.
Literally, the hard way. That's where he grabs Luigi by the back of the neck. It's just, you go wait in that fucking gas station bathroom. But Mario, you gave the fucking last of the money away. You gotta do the fucking work. This is what Papa taught us.
No such thing as a free lunch.
Free sauce, though.
Well, yeah, if you make it yourself.
Now get in there and start sucking. Yeah, that part doesn't happen, but I'm just reading between the lines here. So then they get a free job.
Oh yeah, the free job. I forgot about that part. Where like Luigi's like, I got us some work. Oh, you got us some fucking work? He's like, well, you used our level, right? Our union wages? Well, no, Mario. I guess I didn't do that. Come on, Luigi. How much under you shoot for? Free? Oh, you motherfucker.
And that's where they end up going. And they end up going to the church. That's right. They end up going to the church. And we see it's the old lady that picked up Hildy when she was a little girl. And while sorting through these pipes, because it falls down a drain. They get across the necklace, falls down a drain. While trying to fix these pipes, they break open and like, oh look, we found a fucking locket. And then Mario tries like, what's the first thing Mario says? He's like, hey, sister, you lost this. Like, taking this shit to the fucking pawn shop.
Call this payment. And also, you got a fucking pool now. How about that?
It's that too. That was actually a good line. Actually, I mean, we're really adding in a lot of F-bombs and all that, but there are a few little kind of like, forced kid jokes in there, but a lot of it's actually pretty witty humor, I think.
I actually thought the jokes were really good in it. Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's a kid's movie, but I thought it was like super well written. Like, especially, it's like one of those ones, like, I felt like it was almost a draft that didn't really need a whole lot. I mean, if you shot it as is, I thought it was fucking awesome. I mean, you could maybe go in there and dial a couple things in, but for the most part, I'm like, dude, these two dudes are fucking, I don't know, these two, like, fucking, for all we know, they could be a bunch of senior citizens all hopped up on mushrooms, like, hey, look right now, woo! But these two dudes really, like, fucking, like, made a good script out of this.
Yeah, I think they did. And once they end up going to, Mario goes to a pawn shop or two, and the guy assumes that it's stolen. So Mario's like, oh, what the fuck are we going to do with this? He's like, this is the thing that's going to help us pay back pay back Big Eddie or whatever. And there's like once or twice already, the mob guy has come by and said to him, "Hey man, where's my fucking money?" And Mario's like, "Oh, don't you worry about him. Don't you rough up my brother." And then he's like, "Today's the day I'm going to go talk to the guy." So Mario's going there. He's like, "You know what? I'm having trouble selling this thing, but I can give it to you." And like, he's like, "That's cute, Mario. That's really cute." And he throws the bag back to Mario. Mario opens it up. It was just filled with rocks. Fucking Luigi took the locket, planning to go give it to Hildy. I think because it was in this dream. That's one of the reasons. That the locket was in his dream. So when he goes there, that's where somebody from the shadows, some kind of creepy guy in a old, worn out, that specifies a suit that looks like it came from like, the Nixon era almost, which I think that kind of makes sense because it's this idea of like that was probably the last time he was on Earth or whatever.
So that was just the clothes he used.
Now keep in mind, this is a point before they were planning to cast Dennis Hopper as Koopa, and now he's known as Bowser. Back in the early '90s, he's often referred to as Koopa. What was I going to say? They're considering Michael Keaton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now those are two that's a big, like, I think they're just going with who was big in the early '90s.
Yeah,
right
just
there.
like who sells pictures right now? That has literally like looking at the numbers only.
And I can kind of see either one of them. But what I do like about this is, one of the reasons why probably they turned it down. It was also, I'm not even sure if they got to the point if they were looking for actors by this point. This probably when still trying to hash out the idea. But what I liked about this script is, we'll get into this part more, but most of the script, Koopa is in reptile form. Like he's a man, he's like a man lizard rather than being kind of like a monster at the very end, which I get that because it's probably just cheaper to do it that way, make him the monster at the very end of the movie. But what happens is
you know what I picture him as? I want to say this really quickly is, that lizard man guy in Soul Calibur 2? That's sort of how I kind of pictured him looking. Like they felt like they had that kind of look because they talked about how they're kind of like half man, half lizard. So I pictured him almost kind of like walking around, like obviously looking a little bit more Bowser-like than that, but kind of like if it was like live action, kind of having that sort of look.
I imagine him looking kind of like there's that point in the Mario Brothers movie that we got when they're shooting him with the Devo gun and he's slowly starting to change and we see he gets like the big giant teethy grin and his face starts to squinch in and get more wrinkled like a lizard. Mm-hmm. I imagine it looking something like that because he's got to be on screen a lot isn't in a lizard form. Mm-hmm. So and I wouldn't surprise me the least bit if that was actually a concept like, okay, we want Koopa to look like this. Fuck. You know what? We're paying for Dennis Hopper here. So how about he turns into that for a couple of seconds? And then he turns into like a T-Rex thing at the very end. And he's like a puppet sticking out of out of a bucket. Okay, that works too. Now don't get me wrong. I really do like the movie we got. But it's one of those things when you're older you can kind of see the strings and kind of like, oh, that's probably why they did this. That's probably why they did that. Like, I bet they probably had original bigger plans for the jump shoes before what they did with the movie.
And that's one of those ones too where I know that some people don't like. People that aren't into filmmaking don't really get it, but it's like all those cool ideas cost money, and a lot of times it's like you don't have all the money in the world to make the movie you wish you could make. Even the people making movies kind of know this. So that's where I just kind of look at it. It's like, I understand totally why they did that. Like, I really, I don't read one of these scripts and kind of like knock the movie like, oh man, this is what we could have had. I just think it's just cool, like in an alternative way. It's like, oh, that is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is Luigi goes to Hildy's work, and that's where she meets Koopa for the first time. And he says, like, yo, what's up? And they get across that he's kind of awkward, he's kind of weird, and that he's almost like, if someone starts laughing, he almost starts laughing, like almost mechanically, just kind of like, is this how they do it? And then goes back to being really serious and very straight. And they get across that like that he's like, yo, check this out. I know who your parents are. Like, you do? And they get across that he kind of has this power to kind of hypnotize. They get that kind of across, like in this scene. It's not all kind of like in like light bursts, sort of. And Luigi goes to shake his hand at some point, and he sees his hand's a claw. Then it goes back to being human. And Koopa's like, oh, what the fuck? He says, okay, yeah, we gotta go. And then he gets Hildy in the car, and they start taking off, and Luigi starts chasing after him. And then it almost becomes like this weird chase of Mario trying to get away from the cops. No, the cops.
No, the mobsters.
The mobsters. Luigi then saying, no, while you're getting away from the mobsters, let's go after these guys over here. He's like, wait, we're chasing them. These guys are chasing us, and they lead them into like some weird. Maybe you read the script more recently than I have. Did it get across that they kind of got into some? Because I know they go down a warp pipe, but did it get across they went to some weird kind of like alternate zone just by crossing through the city and cutting through the streets back and forth and going to the back alley, or was it strictly the
I
warp
can't
pipe?
remember exactly how they got to that warp pipe. I just remember they were like in the van, and there was kind of like a car chase scene, and like, Mario was hanging off on the fucking side like, Luigi, you fuck. And then as they were kind of coming in, they went to like a building or something. And I don't really remember what kind of building it was, but inside there they hid behind this warp pipe, and then the mobsters left, and then they dropped the locket down the warp pipe. And then when they both went in to go get it, the warp pipe sucked them in, and then it disappeared.
That's right.
But I don't remember what kind of building it was that they went to find the warp pipe.
I want to say it was like an old like bar. Like it was a bar that they said it looked like it hasn't been used or been like, active like in years. Something like that. They said it looked really dusty. I also want to mention to get across like Luigi comes with a pizza. And he goes up to Bowser and he says, like, you want a slice? He's just like, no, I'm allergic. There's a lot of callbacks in this movie.
He's got he's like, it's all mushrooms or something like that. And that's what he's allergic to is the mushrooms.
He's allergic to mushrooms. There's a lot of callbacks in that. Then that's where he sneezes fire, and that's where Luigi's like, what the fuck? And the guy's like, you gotta go.
Yeah, just sneezes fire. But if Luigi just put it off, like, oh, that was fucking weird.
I think that's almost how they did put it off. Like, oh, whatever.
Well, no, because Luigi started going, that's my fucking dream. See Mario.
Your dream. You're a fucking idiot, Luigi. I had a dream I was banging fucking Pamela Anderson. I don't think that shit's fucking coming true. Learn to settle, Luigi. Learn to settle. You aim too high. That's what Papa always said.
Shoot, look for the lowest avenue that you can make the biggest bang off of. That's what you gotta do, Luigi. Doesn't gotta be pretty, just gotta get by.
Now get back in that bathroom.
Well, then this is the part where it's like, okay, now you get past all this like Brooklyn mobster stuff, and then they pop out of this warp pipe, and then all of a sudden they're in like the Mushroom Kingdom, and the very first thing they see is like, hey, there's another pipe over there, and a piranha plant fucking comes out of it. And like even the way it describes it just describes it like the exact way that you would picture it in Mario Brothers. And almost from this point in this movie, the way I picture this movie kind of going is having a look of like between like a Jim Henson movie, like The Labyrinth or like Dark Crystal. Like that's how I kind of really look at this movie. Like I would feel it would be a great film for a lot of cool looking puppets.
That's what I think so too. I mean, just reading the script is very ambitious because, like you said, because they play it off like it's somewhat medieval. Because they talk about, that's when the barmaid comes in, that's when the peasant people come in. And when I first read because, it doesn't really give a whole lot of description of how certain characters look. If you get a Koopa Troopa, it says he has the features of a turtle, his armor somewhat resembles a shell, something kind of like that. Mm-hmm. But it won't go into like it has a weird otherworldly look, just go into those kind of details. And I think you're right. I kind of imagine more of a little bit of medieval stuff going on because there is a lot of horseback in this movie.
Which that just sounds so cool because it was like Planet of the Apes, but I just pictured Koopa Troopas fucking riding in on horses. I'm like, that's fucking an awesome like sight. I want to see more of that now.
Yeah, and the way they describe the Koopa Troopas is they're more of just like it's not like we're all these big dumb turtles. They treat it more like they're these reptilian soldiers that are in metal armor that slightly resemble shells. Now that's the thing about it though is you never really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the script, and I'm curious to know what this movie would have been if it did go this way. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of a movie, I think like a script, I don't want to make it sound bad. Sometimes a script, depending on the type of movie it is, can be the least important part of it because I think you could still make a good movie with a bad scripts if you have like good production and good acting and good direction, where a good script can be turned bad with, bad acting, bad direction, bad production. So who knows what this movie would have been if it did go this way. But regardless, it's still a really fun thing to read. So what ends up happening is they go after, like, you're right, they did a lot of research. There's so many nods that it almost feels kind of like something that, like, there's some aspects that feel like, okay, this seems very 90s, but there are other aspects that feel like this seems like a movie that would have came out today. Like, oh shit, they made a nod to the raccoon ears. Oh shit, they made a nod to the flying ship, because what ends up happening from here is they get a couple of piranha plants attack them. The way they describe the piranha plants sounds accurate. And then they kind of sneak in. They see like Bowser is dragging away Hildy, and he's meeting up with a couple of Koopa Troopas, and that's when Mario and Luigi intervene. More like Luigi intervening. Mario like, what the fuck?
It's like, you stand the fuck back, Luigi.
You're too stupid and too fucking weak. Remember Little League? You couldn't even throw the fucking ball.
You were playing T-ball, and somehow, some way, you got hit by the pitch.
You found a way.
To this day, I cannot explain it, but it happened.
You
See,
are
Mario,
an anomaly.
you just gotta believe. Shut the fuck up, Luigi. Don't bring up that believing crap.
He's like, I tried to pitch to Ma that we put you inside of a tent and charge $5 admission. She didn't buy it. Now she's fucking dead. Couldn't pay for a cancer fucking treatment.
It's all your fault, Luigi.
You wouldn't get in that fucking tent. I took your girlfriend. She's gone now. No, so they end up going down there. And that's where Koopa suddenly he turns into a more monstrous version of himself. And they have this wizard character called Beetlemech. What's something to that effect?
Oh, it's Beetleman.
I'm assuming Beetleman is probably, because this is also.
I want to say that is the name of the wizard guy in like Super Mario World. That like.
Really, I thought it was Kamak or something like that.
Maybe not, but it's like I know I've seen that name before. That wasn't just like, I don't think that was just pulled out of the guy's ass.
Okay, well, what came to mind was like the wizard from Mario World. That's what came to mind when I saw that name.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be Koopa's right-hand man, and then his other right-hand man is just this harsh Koopa Troopa named Mugger.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, Beetleman turns Bowser back into his main form, and Hildy freaks the fuck out. And we realize that there's also human soldiers there that are kind of in rags, and they're kind of looking poor and dirty. And you find out they're servants to Bowser, but they were originally members of the Mushroom Kingdom. And since he took over, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to make you fight against your own people and work against your own people. And that's what these guys are. So while Bowser's like, oh, so you guys are friends with these plum. You guys are friends with the girl. Well, guess what? I don't give a shit. So I'm gonna leave my boys here to kill you. I'm gonna hop in this flying, old-timey looking ship, Mario 3, and fly away. Fuck y'all. And we forgot to mention right here they save Toad.
I think they get Toad. Do they save him before or after? I can't.
They get Toad before. This is what ends up happening. Is they get away from some monster from the piranha plants. Like the soldiers want to kill the Mario brothers. He's like, "Hey guys, don't do it! Don't do it!" It's like, "Shut up, or you're next." Okay, that's where you kind of find out Toad's kind of a coward. And then once they see the locket, like, "Wait, you guys are the chosen ones?" Like, "What? You're the chosen ones?" Like, "We are." Like, "Yeah, you have the locket." Like, say we're not the chosen ones, we just happen to come across that thing. Oh, we'd kill you, like, in an instant. Like, oh, yeah, we're totally the chosen ones.
Oh, yeah, because Mario just goes along with it and so on. But yeah, they get Toad, and I like the way they describe Toads, because, like, Toad, they're just like, oh, he just looks like how he looks in fucking Mario 2. And I thought that was just, like, cool. Like, and I just picture that being just, like, some, in the olden days, you would just get, like, a midget guy to put on a suit, and he would walk around, and that's how you do it, Star Wars style.
They get across that he has multiple mushrooms growing from his head.
Yeah, he does have that too. So I mean, like, he's got a little bit more detail to him than like the game, obviously. But that's how I pictured him. I still pictured him looking just like. No, did I lose you already?
No, I turned off the camera. The audio.
Oh, okay. It just said there was an internet problem. That was the only reason I say that. But yeah, Toad just has like. I feel like he still has kind of the look of Mario 2, just making it more look live action style.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he does look I mean, you don't know how he looks exactly, but what came to mind is somewhat creature-ish. Like, I mean, I guess what the cheaper thing to do was to get the guy that played Mini-Me and give him a turban and spray that thing with like some red dots on it. But I guess what comes to mind is something a little bit more creature. If they did something now, I can imagine them making him look more like a weird little mushroom creature than like a human with a little like bulbous mushroom head.
Yeah, I guess you could go with that too. I mean, you could do a puppet. I'm just thinking of like how you would play it. Is you'd have to get somebody in a suit, and then I feel like they would just be wearing a little suit walking around.
Mm-hmm. So after that, these guys are about to kill Mario and Luigi, and since they used to be the old residents of the Mushroom Kingdom, they see this thing like, all right, well, you're the chosen ones. All right, we got to take you to someone. We got to take you to someone who's gonna help you out. That's where they kind of go on this ride, and we get a little bit of exposition. And from there, they meet this grand wizard guy at this bar, which I think the guy's name was Walton, something to that effect.
Yeah, it was. It started with a W like that. Yeah, Waltan, like Woltan, however you'd pronounce that, Walton.
And he's kind of like this very like he seems kind of like maybe sort of comic relief. Like he gives a little exposition, like, okay, so here's what you guys need. You guys need to go get parts of this crown, because he needs to go get the wand, because the crown that's right.
Because Bowser has the crown, which pretty much the crown I just picture, it's because they call it the crown of invincibility, so I just consider it the star. That's how I looked at it. Probably as a crown. I bet you if you had it, it would have a star on the front. But yeah, this wizard, because Bowser locked up all the magic or whatever, so he threw it in the pit of no return. And they even make kind of a funny joke to it. They're like, Mario's like, so has anybody come back from the pit of no return? They're like, no, that's why it's called the pit of no return. Nobody's come back from it. Oh shit, so we're going down there and nobody's ever fucking come back? So if we come back, you're gonna have to change the name, right? And it's just like, yeah, I guess we will have to come up with a new name. Just go fucking down there and get the wand.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of humor throughout the movie.
But it works. Like I liked it. Like I thought there was just a lot of good jokes in here.
Mm-hmm. And on their way to go do that, throughout there, because like they're very kind of apprehensive. Like, okay, well, Luigi wants to do it, and Mario's for the one just chugging along. Usually, the way the game's portrayed, it's Mario being like Mario
dragging his brother along, like come on, Luigi, somebody's got to drive the fucking car.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of those things, I guess they always think, who's getting pussy at the end of the day? I think that is the biggest factor of it. Because Mario's like, why do I always got to go help you save your fucking girlfriend, dude? Where this one, it's like Luigi's lady. It's like, come on, let's go. It's like, oh, god damn it, but where the fuck you going? The only reason I'm doing this because Mama said she wants you alive.
It's almost like the story. That's like how Joe and Mac, the video game, plays out. Because literally at the very end of the boss battle, whoever does the most damage gets the woman. And the other guy just looks fucking shameful because he knows he's going to have to sit in the same room watching it.
Or he's just like, I guess I'm driving back. Just driving, they're making out in the back seat.
Yeah, their fucking caveman car.
Just credits just roll.
But that's literally how it is. And pretty much the only way they kind of get Mario along is because Walton goes like, oh yeah, there'll be a great reward at the end of the day. And Mario's like, shit, we'll be able to pay everybody off if I get this reward.
They get across that Mario is way more business oriented, but it's not so much strictly out of greed, I don't think. It is, I mean, he is looking at money, but at the same time, I think it's more just like, I've been kind of at the bottom my whole life. I just kind of want to get out of the bottom and get kind of like be able to support myself and not have to worry about, paying next month's rent.
Yeah, I think that's what he is. He just doesn't want to be just scraping by. That's like his thing. It's not like he's greedy, like, I want to be a millionaire. But it's just more like, I want to get up, not be like down on the ground, living in a city apartment, fucking in Brooklyn where it fucking sucks every day of the week. Like his whole like view of life is that everything's shitty, everybody's putting their fucking boot on your face. And then Luigi's just like the exact opposite. He's like, Mario, we just gotta work together and here, everything's gonna be. Shut the fuck up, Luigi. What do you know?
Smacks him. Yeah.
He's like, but I had a dream last night. It's like, oh, if you had another fucking dream. Sick and tired of your dreams.
You and your fucking dreams.
Dreams don't pay the electric bill.
Your fucking mouth does. Sorry, that's not getting old to me.
But from this point now, they fucking go off on like an adventure, and it almost sounds like fucking Aladdin, because the way they describe it is like when you go into the pit of no return, you all can grab one fucking item, but don't grab multiple items now.
Yeah, along their way there, they come across, there's this vortex where it starts dropping things like, oh, these are all the lost things of our world. And they come across like, look, here is some old car keys. Look, here's some bunny slippers. And that's where Luigi comes across a pocket knife. Like, look, it's the pocket knife of our dead father. He's like, he gave it to us. Like, nah, he gave it to you. And it's one of these real moments. Like, shortly after that, it's going to lead into another moment in a second. But I'm going to say this for a second. I mean, I think it seems kind of a little bit of a lost opportunity. Because for a split second, I was like, oh, shit, Mario's going to come across the wedding ring of his ex-wife. I mean, I think that seems like a little bit of a lost opportunity, but it's at the same time, the thing with the knife of his father, that actually comes into play too. And they stop for a minute. They're kind of camping out. They're sleeping. And they think Luigi's asleep, and Mario's just having a conversation with Toad. And Toad just said, they given more foreshadowing here. Takes a piece of a mushroom off his head, starts eating it. He's poison to everybody but me. He keeps eating, and then Mario, he's like, what's it like having a brother? Because the way we're just born through spores. We don't really have siblings. He says, like, having a brother, well, what happened was we were a poor family. My father died. I became the man of the house. Shortly after, my mother died, and then I had to look after my brother. My mother said, always look out for him. Always look out for him. And want to know what having a brother's like? It's like having a rock in your shoe. Just annoying. It's there. It's always going to be there. And just, you see, he's very jaded. Just very kind of like, I kind of love my brother, but at the same time, he's done nothing but fucking hold me back. It felt like a very real conversation. And then he says, like, feel lucky you don't have a brother. And then Toad says, I feel lucky I don't have you as a brother.
Yeah, I like that. Like, that was almost like one of those ones where it feels like you could laugh at that moment, but it's not like it's a joke. It's not like a Marvel joke that would, like, pull you out of the movie for a second. It literally felt like you can laugh, but it's like, I totally get what he means by it. It's like, yeah, that sounds fucking shitty if you're the brother. And it's almost like makes Mario think for a moment. And then, like, of course, Luigi overhears the conversation.
And they get across, I should mention, he's bitter about the knife thing because he always tried so hard to please his father, and Luigi got the knife. He made a point of that, like, Luigi got the knife, I got a fucking brother I always got to look after.
Yeah. Well, no, there was almost a better line than that, because I think he says, like, he's like, Luigi got the knife, and I had to go get a job.
That's what it was. Yeah,
and it was just like so there's some really well written fucking moments in this scroll. Actually, I think the whole script's fucking well written, but like there's stuff in there that, like, I guess you wouldn't think too much like in a family friendly PG movie. I even like how the guy even fucking calls out that it's a PG movie, because there's a part where, like, it's like way later on, there's like a party going on. He's like, well, I know it's a PG movie, so it's, you know, it's as intense as a party can be in PG.
Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah, so that's where they're leaving the next morning. And between here and there, they kind of cut back and forth to Hildy locked up in Bowser's castle. And I keep on saying Koopa and Bowser. I'll just call him Bowser because I know him as Bowser. Mm-hmm. Even though in the script he's Koopa. There's a part where he is trying desperately to try and get Hildy to like him. She's like this is kind of where some of the more Princess Bride comedy aspect, I think, kind of comes in some aspects.
And this part felt very Beauty and the Beast to me. That's what this part kind of felt like.
Yeah, and I want to say this part happens a little before the scene we just talked about. He comes in, he says, like, try being nice. Being nice? Like, he's trying to comprehend it. Like, tell her she looks nice. You look nice. You come out, like, it felt very Beauty and the Beast in that aspect.
Yeah, because it just felt like that, and then, like, he gets all angry, like, when she doesn't come out and so on.
And they devise a plan. This is actually the, essentially, because it kind of cuts back to this back and forth, just so we know what's going on. They get across that Hildy doesn't like him, and he's almost to some extent like she won't eat anything he's given. But he's like, let's see, give her these box of chocolates, and once she eats all these chocolates, she's gonna be hypnotized and obsessed with you. Like, okay, and that's the only thing.
Women like them chocolates, so it's easy.
I'll say that's like one of the only problems I kind of have with the script, and it's not even a thing I hate, because in Mario it is often save the princess, but they try to do this whole thing. They present her as a strong female character, but then she's just kind of she's a Brooklyn girl, but she's kind of just up there eating chocolates most of the movie and has a couple of small moments near the end. At the same time, it's like the first draft, so I get it. So that's kind of one of the things I think that, it seemed a little kind of like, she's just sitting there eating chocolates the whole time, or whatever.
And I'll say, 30 years ago, that's not like, I'll say at that time period, that's kind of like a normal script style. I mean, yeah, you could probably do a little bit better with her. But I mean, like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like nowadays, it would seem kind of odd just to have like the woman character sitting there fucking eating chocolates like in front of the fucking TV, like, Koopa, come bring me another burrito.
She just like
she just gets fatter and fatter and just starts to look more lizard-like as it keeps going on. Keeps these fucking chocolates are awesome.
Now here's one thing I'm not entirely sure. I'm assuming it's more of like a makeup thing, like because they get across the more she eats these, she starts to be more into them, and she starts to look more of kind of scary and kind of lizard-like. They get across, their nails are painted kind of long and green, kind of like lizard claws. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if she's actually taken shape of a lizard slightly, or if it's more of just her makeup is becoming more of kind of like evil looking and kind of more like lizard like out of that. You know what I mean?
I think it's both, because it does mention that she starts getting like claws and stuff like a lizard and so on. Like at first she paints the nails, then then it starts to become like scales on there, and then as it goes on she starts to have claws. So I think it's kind of a mix of both. I think she does have kind of weird looking fucking creepy makeup, because there is a part where like Luigi finds her and she's just got scary makeup on and she's fucking reptilian like you can't even recognize her. Before she just comes out, she's just like 400 pounds, like, Luigi, want chocolate?
Luigi, who's the good old hearted guy, is like, you know what, keep her. Credits.
Mario, you're right. Let's go get a Cocker Spaniel.
You're fucking speaking my language, Luigi. High five. Like
we'll paint it. We'll make it look like a zebra and charge admission.
Just like, I know we agree on something one day, Mario. That's when they just high five, freeze frame. All of a sudden, like, I like when you do the hocus pocus to me. Starts to play.
It just ends like that. But no, I guess going back to like more the middle part of the movie, now they're like on this kind of adventure, and this is where it's like I almost feel like it would seem smart, because you got these older guys writing a Mario script, and it's almost like, well, let's pull from things we know, because this is what Mario's kind of reminding me of, is these sort of fantasy stories. So they even have this part where Mario, like, they literally get these 3 silver coins like the second they go on the trip, and of course like fucking like 10 minutes into this trip, it seems like Luigi's like, hey, there's a bum there, and he's like, here, have 3 silver coins, and then like Mario's like, what the fuck you doing, Luigi? He's like, oh, you gave me a bean. And it's just like, Mario's like, you give me some fucking hamburger meat and we'll have some fucking chili, you no good fucking brother. See what I mean, Toad? This is why you can't have brothers.
This is why you need to throw them in a basket and send them down the fucking river. No, then there's the whole part where, as they're moving forward, that's where kind of I want to say, because they have a couple of like just situations where they bump in with Koopa's men before they reach there. I want to say the next morning they come across, this is where it actually got a little intense for a minute. They come across a slave camp of Toad's people, and you find out that Goombas essentially they describe Goombas looking kind of like as evil versions of Toads.
Yeah, and they make them out like they're still like, same Goomba height and everything like that. So I could almost even picture it when I'm reading it. Like they actually do kind of look like Goombas with the toads. But they do make it like they're evil Toads. But I could almost see it looking like the way they do in the game.
Well, that even makes sense to some extent, because Toads, Goombas, the original, now it's changed. Now, they've kind of retconned Mario a lot, switched a lot of things around. But at some point they made it that Goombas were actually... they were servants of the Mushroom Kingdom that betrayed Princess Peach. Mm-hmm. So I think that may have been even intentional. Like, okay, well, we read this in this instruction booklet, one of the only forms of, exposition we have for this thing. So let's incorporate this somehow. So as that goes on, they kind of just get into this big car chase, and they send in the Hammer Brothers, and they kind of treat the Hammer Brothers is like the Boba Fett's of the movie. Or not actually Boba Fett's. Maybe that's not the best example, because, don't get me wrong, I like Boba Fett, but really he just kind of, he gets some people at gunpoint, and then he falls into a pit at some point. He's more of kind of like, I guess, this is going to be a very weird example, the Danny Trejo character from Desperado.
Okay, yeah. That makes total sense.
Because he's kind of like, he's not the main guy, but he's like the specialty guy. The specialty guys they call in. So they describe them being Koopa Troopas with a little bit more badass armor, and they have hammers and they also throw axes and shit like that.
Yeah, which I thought, it's like, that's the thing, is the script, as it keeps going on, it's just like they keep pulling out, like, left and right, like, here's an enemy from Mario, we're gonna use it. Like, never does this script ever really do the thing where, like, let's just make up random shit for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I like about it. Like, it's actually, I feel like the people really respected the material. And even if they told you didn't, they clearly did when they were doing the job. That's all I have to say.
So then they kind of get into, like, sort of this Indiana Jones, like, Temple of Doom, like, chase, where at the slave camp at some point they hop inside of a cart. It's moving along through this facility, and then it leads also on horseback. And eventually they get away. They eventually get away, and they come to the pit of no return. Or actually, no, before that even happens, I want to say they come across an egg. And the egg, they never call it Yoshi, but they call it Junior. And they get across, it's this dinosaur, it looks kind of like a brontosaurus. It's a baby, and it really likes Mario. And it comes up to him.
It has a long tongue, too.
Has a long tongue, it's really friendly. And I'm trying to remember, do they bump into this thing and it helps them get out of the jam right there? Or does the thing kind of help them get out of the jam later at the 0 hour?
I want to say it helps out Mario later on. Like, I want to say when they first do it, it's like, they're just like, get the fuck out of here, Junior.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Mario, it likes you. I don't fucking like it. I don't like pets. I don't like it unless we can stir fry this fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you. I've had frog legs before.
Yeah. Even though I was very disgusted. Oh, that's what it was. Remember, they went to a restaurant. This goes way back to the warp pipe thing. They go to a restaurant, and Mario looks at the fucking wall. He's like, frog legs? Frog soup? No wonder nobody's fucking in here.
That's right, yeah.
Frog kebabs? But
it was all like this weird, gross, that's right. Anyway,
there's another part that's right around the Yoshi part. I can't remember exactly where it was, but they find a bomb. And it comes after him, and this was actually kind of like, to me, kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking like foretelling the future here, because the bomb's like counting down, and they pick it up, and they start playing hot potato between Mario, Luigi, and Toad. I'm like, oh fuck, that's a Mario Party minigame right there.
It is. They saw it coming. That's what
I mean. I was like, Jesus. I'm like, dude, this is like this script not only like tells like the grand stories of old Mario, it even has like futuristic stuff, and there's other games that I'll mention later on as the movie kind of goes on that reminds me of other parts in future games.
Well, what ends up happening is the way they come across that thing is because they finally come down to the pits. And as they're working through it, that's their kind of opportunity to get into all like kind of the cave and underground stages of Mario. And they come across some thwomps, and there's the
thwomps. I forgot about that. That was cool too.
They had certain like squares. You step on a thwomp, comes like, come a little closer, smash, almost gotcha. Just all like, and I could totally imagine like a Jim Henson kind of rock like puppet kind of styrofoam thing coming down like that. And then that's where the bomb comes out. Like, what the fuck is this thing? It's just like 1, 2, like, oh shit! They start throwing it back and forth, and then they one of them steps on a square. A thwomp is coming down. Mario chucks it up at the thing, and explodes the thwomp before it has a chance to hit him.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That's when they come across the room. It's kind of like touch nothing but the lamp kind of part.
That was totally what that part was. Of course, first thing Mario does is like, hey, look, check out this fucking jewel. Starts pocketing it.
Starts pocketing a bunch of stuff. And I want to say, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm more imagining this part. One of these things does happen. I think at some point they're holding up a golden cape and examining it. I might be wrong about that. But one thing that definitely does happen, which I was like, that's a cool little nod. They probably won't do anything with it. They pull out a big orange leaf. I'm like, huh, okay, because they can each take one thing. And Mario takes 2 or 3 things. He's supposed to grab the wand, but he also pockets a few jewels. Toad takes the leaf, and I want to say Luigi.
He grabs the magic mushrooms.
That's right.
Sounds so weird. Like, what's Luigi go for? He's like, he just finds a bag of mushrooms fucking sitting there. Like, out of all these things you could grab, it's just like, these mushrooms look good.
I'm hungry. He is they get across, he's like this very kind of simpleton. He's almost kind of like just this guy who he just he really Forrest Gumps his way through shit.
He really is. He's like, it's not that he's not intelligent and he's very skilled, but he's almost like partially retarded all at the same time. That's why it reminds me like kind of like Rain Man, like maybe not nearly as retarded as Rain Man, but he has like these special abilities that are very Rain Man like.
I could almost see them like Mario and Luigi, like this Mario and Luigi, going to see Rain Man in theaters. Mario's sitting there with his arms crossed, like, this is some fucking bullshit. Luigi's like, I don't know, I kind of like what it has to say. They kind of get out of the movie. He, like, chucks the popcorn to the ground. Count it! How many? Like, what? How many? Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're fucking useless. Keeps on walking.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. I mean, like, I'll still say this. I still can picture this Mario and Luigi played by Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Like, I can still see. I mean, it'd be a little bit different, but I could still see it totally.
You want to hear something, actually? I'm not sure if it was this draft of the script or, like, one of the other drafts. Mm-hmm. But it's so funny that we mentioned the Rain Man thing. You want to know who actually wanted to be part of this movie and wanted to play Mario because he liked it?
Tom Cruise?
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, that would actually be kind of interesting. You know what the thing is, too? Is like you could put a mustache on Dustin Hoffman because in this script, they say that both Mario and Luigi have big, thick mustaches.
Yeah.
Like, even thicker than, like, you know, Bob Hoskins even has. So I just almost picture, like, if you put a big old mustache on Dustin Hoffman, this sounds weird, even though he's kind of older, and obviously probably, he might even be older than Bob Hoskins, or at least around the same age. I could almost see him playing Luigi. Not really, maybe Mario? I don't know. He could, I'll say this, Dustin Hoffman's the kind of guy who could act his way into being Mario, for sure. But I almost picture him more like a Luigi.
I still, for whatever reason, just John Leguizamo was kind of burned into my memory as live action Luigi.
Same
if
here.
If you were going to do it today, live action, I mean, choice I'd go with now is probably Sacha Baron Cohen. But I have trouble picking a Mario. I can think of, like, if you did a one today, I can think of everybody but Mario. That's the one I have trouble with.
I know, it's kind of a tough one nowadays. It's because it's weird because you don't really have that big Italian. I mean, Bob Hoskins is like British, he's not even Italian, but he's, you know what I mean.
He can pull it off. He very much has that vibe to him. He has as far as this movie goes, though, before then at some point they actually hired Tom Hanks, and they fired Tom Hanks before the movie actually got going. Like, we got Tom Hanks. Actually, you know what? Bob Hoskins is a little cheaper, and he just got off Roger Rabbit, and that movie fucking killed. Hanks, get the fuck out of here.
Like, you're going to do anything special, Hanks.
And you know what he did that year? He did Philadelphia and won an Academy Award. So
yeah. It all worked out for Hanks. Good things always happen to Hanks.
Yeah. And it's also one of those things where it's just like, I can't help but imagine, like, at some point, we could have had a Tom Hanks as Mario. Just having, like, Tom Hanks at some point say, "Oh, Luigi!" That way he says it. It's hard to do a Tom Hanks impersonation, but there's that that tone in his voice when he gets really frustrated with something that's very distinguishable. Mm-hmm. It's like you hear it in Saving Private Ryan, you hear it in Toy Story. He's like, "Oh, Buzz, what are you doing?"
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
It's not a working class voice or anything, but it's very distinguishable. Anyway, going back to this, so they each grab an item. They're leaving. And they all get up top. And once they get up top, though, they realize, actually, first off, as they're leaving, they see a big pile of shit. Like, what is that? That is mole shit. We got to get out of here. Those things are big and nasty. It's like, oh my God, they're pulling from the fucking moles.
I know, that's what blew me away, too, because this script is fucking 1991. I mean, yeah, so somebody went out and fucking got a Super Nintendo, right? Like, at the very beginning, fucking, like, you know, I mean, think about it. By the time the script was written, the Super Nintendo's not even been out for a year yet.
Yeah. So, or maybe that's even coincidental, one of those things. I doubt it is. I bet they're probably really there. But just like, I don't know, I just thought a big mole would be scary. I didn't even know that shit was in the game.
I mean, maybe it is, but there's multiple Mario World stuff in it, so I feel like they probably did. They probably just sat down one, like, weekend and did, like, a Mario marathon.
And Nintendo, they didn't play a heavy hand in it, but they were kind of, like, looming over their shoulder a little bit, saying, okay, so, yeah, sure. And they probably just gave them, like, here's a list of characters and monsters in the game, and here's some worlds and all that. So they get to the top, and up there waiting for them is Bowser's men, and like Bowser himself. And I'm trying to think, there's a way, we forgot to mention, Toad actually sold them out.
Yeah.
Toad sold them out early on. Once they were leaving Walton's bar, or Waltan or Walden, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Once they were leaving his bar, he got like a messenger turtle, which is essentially just kind of, a messenger pigeon, but it describes it as a turtle with a rocket booster coming out of its ass.
Yeah, it literally says like flames just shoot out the back end.
And they also get across, we should mention that Walden just kind of spends all the day hanging out this bar, hitting on like the barmaid. So
yeah, he just like pinches her. He pretty much like Harvey Weinstein's his way through this area.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm the great. I'm Walton, the great and powerful.
I got a beard. What are you gonna do? I'm crazy. You're gonna get some ass. Woo!
Yeah, I'll send these dirty fucking immigrants to do our job. They're not from here. No one cares if they die. They're gonna work. We can charge them for half the fucking labor.
Yeah. Shit, I haven't seen an Italian in fucking 100 years.
Let's see how this goes. You gonna pull it off? I don't fucking know. Let's just see what happens. Anyway, so they get up there. And one more thing. There's all these small. There's that thing. There's a lot of small little things that get sprinkled throughout it. Mm-hmm. And this part happened because I remember. I don't think at some point when they're trying to get away from the bad guys, they come across some ugly old hag, and Harvey Weinstein's her way to Mario. She's like, I can help you if you just give me a kiss. If you kiss me, I'll turn fucking hot. Like Mario's like, no, I'll take my chances. Mario, just fucking kiss her. I work the fucking glory holes. This is fucking nothing. Like, oh, all right. So he kisses her. She hides him in a stump, and then she says to the lizard people, like, hey, Sonnies, you want to give me a kiss? Like, oh, Jesus, let's get the fuck out of here. So then they move on. So that's a little thing that's going to pop back in later. But anyway, so coming from the cave, they come out. Koopa's men's waiting there for him. And that's where Toad goes up to him and says, like, look, here's the wand. I want to let you know, I'm the one that sent the message. These guys are fucking dumbasses. All right? You could just let them go back to their world. No need to kill them. Here's the wand. Can I have a reward? Like, yeah, sure thing. No problem. They kick Toad and Luigi into the fucking pit. After this giant ass pit, it's just, like hundreds of stories down. And as they're falling, this is one of those things like, oh shit, are they doing this? Are they fucking doing this? Toad pulls out the leaf, tells Luigi to grab the leaf, and then he grabs it.
And he turns Tanuki.
Yeah, he grows the ears, he grows the tail, and at the last minutes, he manages to just get enough air just to kind of glide down safely. And then that's where the mole starts coming out. Like, oh shit, the mole is coming. The fucking mole is coming. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And that's where the bean from the hobo they got earlier drops into the ground and shoots up like a beanstalk, and then you get out of there right at the 0 hour. Now, while all that's going on, Mario's dealing with Koopa.
What I also like too is when they have the Tanuki thing, like they describe it like identically like in the game. Like they don't try to like retrofit it for like, oh well, how would this work in a movie to sell them mom and pop in Oklahoma? It's like, nope. He flies with the tail, and the tail bobs in the wind, and that's how he's able to like grab Toad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and while that's all going on, Mario is up there kind of getting the scuffle with Bowser because he's like, you killed my fucking brother. And this is like one of the few things like, oh, Mario does actually have a heart, Mm-hmm. So out of that, what ends up happening as the movie goes on is Mario's just suddenly, like, as he's like, Bowser's like, whatever, I got bigger shit to take care of. And he leaves his men to take care of Mario. But that's when Yoshi comes in. And in the script, he's written as Junior, but it's Yoshi.
It's clearly, yeah, Yoshi.
He eats a couple of the bad guys, and then Mario, or like just doesn't eat them, but like I don't think he eats them. He like grabs them and in his mouth, spits them back out at someone else. Mario hops on top of them. He runs away with Mario on his back, and then Mario just feels really bad. He's all like regretting everything, and then there's like a Yoshi call off, and it's like, that's your mother. Go to her. Love your mother.
You know what to do.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. You go. No, yeah. He actually has more of a heartwarming emotion. He has more of an emotional scene with it. Like, I was wrong about you. Be good, kid. Be good to your mother. Whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when Walton comes back. He's like, well, at least I got this thing. And this part was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Walton comes back. And he's like, all right, well, let's go do this. And Mario, this is not us like emphasizing like or like adding to it. Mario literally says, let's go kick some ass, literally in the script. Which is funny.
Well, I like too because like Mario hands him like the wand because Walton comes dressed up like the hobo guy and he's like, "Give me the wand." And it's like, "Oh, it's you." And he takes the wand and then pretty much from here, he's got the wand in his hand and then he's like looking at it and he's looking back and forth and kind of checking out for magic and so on. There's a line that maybe there's literally a jerk off joke because Mario looks at Walton and he's like, "You're gonna help out or you're just gonna sit there stroking your wand?"
Stroking your little thing. It's a line.
I thought that was hilarious.
So then as they're going down, and Mario, he like lifts it up. He lifts up the wand, like, here we go. And, like, then all of a sudden lightning comes down, turns into fucking smolderains.
It turns into what?
Smokes like smoldering, just burns them to nothing.
No, because they use the wand to fly there first.
They get there, but what ends up happening is they end up causing a they look through a crystal ball and they make a little like drinking joke. Beetlemec, you see him like mixing some kind of concoction of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
He's just perfect. Turns around, he just has like a drink. He's just a little dry, and that's when he looks through the crystal ball, sees them coming, makes a lightning storm, and just zaps the wizard right there to nothing. As soon as they get there, I was like, oh shit. Instead of looking around like he's the only one left. Like, all right. And then he grabs the wand, kind of goes forward, and it goes to the castle. And that's where, he goes in. I don't remember how it plays out exactly, but he very easily gets in there and manages to get Hildy. And he grabs her by the hand, but her hand suddenly turns into a monster hand. And that's where he turns into Beetleman. He says, "Sorry, Mario, but the princess is in another castle." And we see the whole thing was just an illusion.
And I thought that was another awesome part too. It's like, see, it's like callbacks just like that. Like, see, you would expect that line nowadays, but you would not expect that in like 1991.
Not at all. That's what had me so surprised about that. And just how many nods this thing has throughout it. And then that's where Mario's taken prisoner. And that's where Luigi and Toad just get back, and they see this from a distance. And I want to say they come in, they help fight him off, and kind of get Mario out of the situation, and they come to the real castle. And Mario and Luigi are breaking into the castle while Toad sits out there and waits, doing the whole thing like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll watch it out here, guys. I'll be right in there. Hit the 0 hour to help you out."
Mm-hmm. Is this the part where they like Mario and Luigi put on like the Koopa Troopa outfits?
I believe they put on Koopa Troopa outfits, to get in there.
Yeah, they sneak in, and then there's one weird scene in there where like they sneak in, they're like, "Who the fuck are these guys? They must be the jesters." And I think because we're not at Bowser's wedding yet, are we?
We're not at his wedding yet. No. So
they're in there, and it's like they're like, "Sing a song," and all I can picture is like, "Oh my god, is it gonna go like we're the Mario Brothers?" Plummon's okay. I was like, "This is the perfect area to drop that song in."
But it's one of those things where they have they get across. There's like some like sexy belly dancer, and they get across like Bowser's really turned on and watching this, like, oh fuck yeah, whatever. And then takes the veil off, and she has like some like ugly lizard face, and like and it says something in the script like she's Madonna to this world.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's where like she walks past them, and they knock over something, and then they're standing on the stage like, "You're the jesters," like, yeah, and they just do this really weird kind of forced song like, "You're Koopa, you're so super." They just kind of improvise the song, and people like it, like, "Do it again." They just kind of have to. It's kind of like a much more of that. There's like it reminds me of kind of like something you'd have like in a kids movie. Like there's the part in whatchamacallit, in Lion King, where it's just like, "What do you want to do? Dress in drag and do the hula?" Something kind of like that part.
Yeah, kind of like that, just a little bit more extended even. But yeah, so they go from there, and then, gosh, now I can't remember. Now I know the wedding part comes up somewhat soon, but I can't remember what goes from point A to point A. I know I literally just read this like less than like an hour, I guess a little bit more than an hour by now ago, but still, I've kind of forgot this last part.
What happens right here is Mugger is watching. Bowser's just enthralled the whole time, and Mugger, who's his other right-hand man, is just kind of like the cold, silent man who just kind of never has a whole lot to say. he's kind of looking at them and noticing, like, he sees like part of the red overalls showing through the armor, showing through a pant leg, kind of, and he's kind of suspicious to them. And he figures them out. They start to get away, and then I think that's where they bring it. That's where they come across. I think they come across the Hildy. I might be wrong.
Oh, that's right, because they sneak upstairs, and because I think right after the song they're like, we can get away, and they sneak upstairs and they find Hildy, and that's where like they open the door and it's like, oh fuck, what the hell here? And she's like, she doesn't even really recognize him at first, and then Luigi's like, it's me, you remember me, Hildy? It's me, Luigi.
Yeah, like I'm looking at right here, Mario.
Who's Luigi? Where's Bowser at? Oh.
I want some chocolate. No. At some point, Mario talks about like she like stomped your guts out, and then like Luigi's like looking at like it's me, and she doesn't recognize him at first, and Mario's like, didn't I tell you? She stomped your guts.
I fucking knew it.
The brothers are dragged out. Hildy, torn and confused, bites of chocolate for herself, and she's at the point where there's only one left by here. And once the box is done, she's madly in love with Bowser. So what's up happening is the brothers are then put into a dungeon, and the dungeon keeper there basically says, okay, so like, what is this? Some kind of weird ice room? Like, well, what happens here is you're going to be in this room. There's a sheet of ice. Beneath that sheet of ice is like a big ass fish. And once the light comes through in the morning, it's going to melt it. And then guess what? Your dinner for this fucking fish. And I'm just assuming, just given everything else in it, it's probably like one of the fishes from Mario.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably like the big one that I think is also in Mario 3, but I know it's in Mario World.
Which would have been Big Bertha or whatever.
That's right.
The lady in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Mm. And then here they get another serious conversation because they realize they're gonna I don't remember this conversation as well, but I remember it's the two of them sitting there kind of almost waiting for death, and there's still a little bit of like levity and light jokes in it, but here we find out that Mario is all like, I'm sorry I've been rough to you, but here's the thing, I've always felt like I was working really hard and I was always trying to pick up the slack for you. And Luigi's like, well, I made a promise to mother. Mario doesn't actually say this. Luigi says, the reason I never left you is Mama made me promise not to leave you. Kind of same thing she told Mario. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, she was worried without me that you would just be too obsessed with work and business and just kind of die alone.
I like this because Luigi's almost like speaking first. He's like, yeah, I actually wanted to leave your ass from the very beginning, but Mother told me I gotta stay with you.
Yeah. And then that's where he gives him his pocket knife. He says like, I don't want it now. He's all like,
Dad gave that to you.
Yeah, he's like, well, don't be, and I'm literally reading it like, don't be too small to accept it. Mario's like, okay, big deal. Gotta lose it. A lot of use it gets me now. So it's one of those things.
I like the line that Luigi says, because there's that part where he's like, Mario's like, yeah, but Dad gave you that. And Luigi's like, yeah, but I'm giving you it now, like passing it on. And so I know it sounds like so simple, but it kind of works.
Yeah, it does definitely work. And it's one of those things where, so right here, sun's coming in and Toad is still outside. And Toad is almost having this Smeagol-like conversation with himself. Kind of like there's that part in Lord of the Rings Two Towers where one side of him is like, they love us. It cuts from a different angle. They hate us. Master looked for, that kind of shit. Toad is having one of those conversations with himself about having the guts to go in and do the right thing. And that's where he comes in, and the dungeon keeper is sitting there munching on some soup. And this movie does have a lot of like come arounds, like foreshadowing and whatnot. He takes one of his mushrooms, drops it in the guy's soup. The guy eats it, dies right away. He goes to unlock the brothers out of there, but it's at the point where the sun's shining through and it's almost melted, and they're on this tiny, tiny little piece of ice by this point, just trying to avoid death.
Mm-hmm. And I like how like Toad like fucking just murders that guy like fucking like Clint Eastwood in the Beguiled.
Like he doesn't even care. Like no shit's given.
Yeah, and then if you find this guy was just like frothing on the ground, just having the most horrible fucking poison death.
He's like, whatever, I helped.
He just like shits on his face and keeps going.
I'm just also imagining. I'm imagining it probably would have been like at least voiced by. Maybe they would have just got a character actor, like a little. They obviously would have had a little person play this guy, but I'm
Voiced
wondering.
by Rob Schneider.
Well, I could not even Rob Schneider. I'm wondering if like they probably would have had some stand comedian or character actor probably voice him. Just a guess. I just like to imagine like Toad now just being like, "This fucker's gonna die."
Eat your soup, you fuck!
Just jamming the mushroom down
Just
his
like
throat.
screaming in this guy's ear.
But still with like those like little like soulless dots for eyes with like this vacant stare, smile, just mouth closed, just jamming this thing down his throat.
Yeah, exactly. Just more like he just grabs him from behind and starts shoving fucking mushrooms down his throat and like
Just
holding it like, swallow, you little fuck!
Yeah, it's like he's in his ear. It's like, shh, shh. Like very intense.
Poisons this guy. Which he poisons this guy, but like, then how's he? I can't remember how he got out of the fucking like prison.
Well, no, that's because he poisons this guy, and I want to say he takes the keys and helps the brothers get out of there.
Okay, maybe that's what he just grabbed the keys from the guy.
Might be something
Not
more
like the guy
elaborate.
gets up and fucking stumbles like 15 feet away where he can't reach him anymore.
I don't like to imagine like he's like, before I help you, I just want to watch this fucker die. He just stands there smiling, just that default Toad stare, just two dots, smile, like it's just things. He's just looking up, just this thing fucking staring at him, like, how's it feel knowing there's no afterlife?
He's like fucking eating his own mushrooms off his head while he's saying this, just to like rub it in even farther.
Mother told you to eat your vegetables. She said that about my vegetables.
And then you never see fucking Toad later again in this movie.
He just unlocked him, like, oh my god, he was a cold-blooded fuck.
God, they said he was a thief. I didn't realize he was a serial killer.
Yeah. Just like, should we send him a thank you note? For like, no, best we see of him. Like, I'll find you when I need you.
He was like Eric Foreman in that Predators movie.
Just waiting for the 0 hour, like, I like it here amongst the monsters. I'm one of them.
But from this point on, finally Mario and Luigi break free, or Toad comes to save them, and he apologizes for all the shit he's done to them this whole time.
And and then they're going to the wedding, and here's like a lot of times they make Bowser out to be kind of like the dope, because in the movie we ended up getting, he's treated very seriously, and he's always very angry.
He's Dennis Hopper Bowser.
He's Dennis Hopper Bowser, and this he is almost kind of like the way how he is in the games now. Because earlier on he was just this pixelated turtle monster thing you'd fight.
Mm-hmm.
In the cartoon, he was just this. It would vary. He was a threat, but he was stupid, and that's almost kind of how he is in the games now. He's a threat, but he's a fucking dumbass. And they kind of get this across through this right here. They say they're getting ready for the wedding day, and Bowser's all excited, and he peeks around the corner and says, "It is a very pitiful display. The room is nearly empty. There's like 5 Koopa Troopas, and then like 2 Goombas sitting in the far back corner, So it's very descriptive as far as that goes. He's just like, where is everybody? He's like, oh, they all have the flu. All 3,000? Like, well, it's a very bad flu.
I know. That's just something. That almost sounds like the perfect way to like make the scene cheaper.
It is. I mean, it's one of those things like that's got to make the scene cheaper, and also it pays off for a joke too.
Yeah, I thought that worked. And what I like about this though is this ending scene. It reminds me of the very beginning of Mario RPG, because literally fucking Mario and Luigi come in on chandeliers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They come in, and they end up fighting. They have like a fight. Like it's like. The way to describe it, it sounds more of kind of like a swashbuckling, kind of like sword and adventure kind of fight. 'Cause he comes in, he's fighting guys off with spears, and I think at some point maybe a sword. And Hildy's there, and she's in full garb. And I want to say Luigi comes to her, and pull in like just has like a look in her face, has a look like, "Hey, remember me? You gotta remember me." And I want to say it just kind of comes back like, "Oh, I do remember you."
No, because he throws the magic mushrooms in her.
Oh, that's right. He does. He shrooms her. He drugs her.
He like shrooms her, and it's weird because he throws them out, and it's like they turn to like pixie dust or something like that, and like it falls over and the spell is released.
Mm-hmm. And then she goes back to looking the way she's supposed to look, and that's where they kind of have a quick joke where Where she's like, oh, she's like, Luigi. Then she stops, like, my nails. Like, she freaks out. She has like these weird, gross nails.
Yeah, he's got like green nails. It's actually almost like simple. Like it's like, oh, she has like green nails. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of have this big adventure scene right here, and Bowser ends up getting the helmet by this point. Because since he was actually wedded, by this point he was granted the ability to wear the helmet. Because either the crown. Because we forgot to mention, what he needs essentially is to be part of the Mushroom Kingdom lineage in order to wear this helmet and to wear this crown. So now that that officially happened, he's like, great, now I can wear this crown and I can do whatever the fuck I want. And once that happens, he turns Luigi into stone. And that's where they have the serious moment. Mario and Luigi, Toad and Peach are all trying to get away, or Hildy are trying to get away. And as Luigi's running, he's starting to turn more to stone, and he reaches this point where he's all like, looks like I am the rock in your shoe. And Mario just feels bad, like, oh no, Mama was right. Mama was right. I'm sorry, Luigi.
Yeah. And then it kind of goes in this kind of like sort of battle, because like now it's cool because like it even turns in, now they're above this like lava pit bridge or whatever, so it just feels like, oh, you're literally at like, you know, the castle level of Mario Brothers.
Yeah, because they end up going down to the sewers, and it just keeps on going lower and lower to this underground lair where there's like, yeah, there's all this lava and all that. And there's a line in there that is really kind of awkward, but at the same time I get what they mean. But as they're going down like these water tubes as they're trying to get away, because Luigi's a full-on stone statue by this point. They're just kind of dragging him with them. Mm-hmm. As everybody crawl on Luigi, ride him.
Well, because it almost kind of reminds me of like the actual like part where they slide down the mattress in Mario Brothers the movie, just shorter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little things in this. I mean, it is a very different script, but I definitely see like hangovers from this in the final products. Mm-hmm. And then they get down there, they're trying to get across, and this right here, because like, you know, the whole thing with Mario Brothers in the original was, you know, the way you defeat Bowser is he was on the other side of the bridge, and that's where you fought him. You fought him on a bridge over lava. They do that here, and that's one of those things where they get across, and Mario, like, you know, Mario's like, go on ahead without me, I'll take care of this, and he's going up to fight Bowser, and he keeps on challenging Bowser, and they're fighting on a bridge. And more Mario's just intimidating him. And Luigi tells him, remember the genie story I told you, where the guy threatens a genie. And Mario just kind of outsmarts Bowser. He keeps on telling him to get bigger and bigger. Like, what? That's as big as you can get? That ain't nothing. I seen lizards in my basement bigger than you. What is this? You know, and then that's where he gets bigger. And then I guess he says, like, hey, your shoelace is untied. And he looks down, the crown falls off him. He falls right through into the lava, and he still kind of crawls up. He's still a monster right there. I don't remember how he stops him from there. I want to say, does he zap him with a wand from that point or something like that?
I can't remember. I think he falls in the lava, but he still has like one more attack, almost kind of like the T-1000 in Terminator, where he's kind of popping out and everything. And I almost picture it like, I know this is probably not how it is in the script, but I picture like Bowser falls in there, and then he comes up almost like a skeleton and has one more like last like fire burst, and it shoots up, and then he sinks back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because every time they do something to him, like no attack affects him for a while, and then once the crown falls off, it's something like that. He comes out, and I want to say like he comes out like still like a monster, but he's on fire, and then Mario does something to I'm trying to find the spot, because he does something to like throw him off, I want to say, but you know what? What happens is actually Mario has the pocket knife. That's right. He has the pocket knife.
There's a rope attached to him.
And he cuts it off. He drops back down there.
And you know what, actually, because like that crown part, you know what that sort of reminds me of is, what's the boss in Mario Brothers 2?
Wart. Like,
the way they sort of describe him when he puts the crown on and everything like that, I almost kind of picture like a mix between that and Bowser.
Yeah, well, I could almost see them actually, because that was at a time where they didn't really keep a lot of continuity straight, so I could actually see him doing something like, because even if you look at the way Bowser or Koopa looks in the Mario cartoon, he looks like a cross between Wart and Koopa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that is kind of, because they've never really brought Wart back around. I can't remember any game he came back in much later on.
I mean, I want to say, they brought Birdo back. They brought a lot of
Birdo back all the time.
Shy Guys and a lot of the other villains.
Well, a lot of the stuff comes from Mario, too, that we still like know to this day, but just not Wart.
Did Rat Trap, was he a playable character in any of the Mario Kart games?
Not in a Mario Kart, I don't think.
Was he in? I want to say he may have been in a Paper Mario game or Mario RPG, possibly.
Yeah, that probably could be it. Not Mario RPG, but maybe one of the
Maybe.
Paper Mario ones.
Yeah, because I want to say that guy, he came back at some point in one of the games, the rat guy. Because I remember he was like a right hand goon in one of the cartoon. But anyway, so then once that happens, they turn Luigi back to normal, and they have the whole ceremonial thing of like, look, everybody, we are back to peace. And it turns out Walton actually didn't die. He's like, yeah, I just felt to take the back seat while you guys took care of the rest. I don't know why. There's no real explanation for that part. But
yeah.
And then
and that's also like, hey, honey, here's your dad. I know it's been 20 years. Probably could have came and got you, but I'm hanging out barmaids.
Barmaids,
Once your mother died, I thought it was time, to kind of, spread my wild oats. I didn't really get to do that early on, so I'm doing it late in life.
That's even a joke he makes. He makes a joke like, I bid you, I make no requirement for Hildy to stay, because I plan to make many more heirs, looks at the barmaid, with my new queen.
What's your name, honey? I know the one you say on stage is not your real name.
Yeah, I know it's not Chastity. We all know that's bullshit.
Yeah. Shit, you don't even have a chastity belt.
Yeah. I know it's irony, but yeah.
But yeah, it still goes on, and it's like, kind of has this kind of fun one. Then it's like, but he's like, Hildy, you get back to that other world you're at. You don't belong here anyways. Not a very good dad. Not a very good friend. Shit, I'm not going to run this whole kingdom. Those toads are going to work for me, believe it or not. That slave camp thing, not ending under my watch.
I'm not going to say everything, but I'm going to say it. He has some good ideas, and it's already kind of there. Why stop something? Why break something if it's working fine?
Yeah, it's already a building. As long as you're just a little bit nicer than the last guy, it's all okay.
I'll give him cots. I'll give him lunch, too.
Shit, yeah. It'll be like they got union wages. You'll like that, right, Mario?
All right, y'all get the fuck out. You ain't going to pay me? No. Your payment's
I paid you. Here. It's in your heart.
It's in your heart. Now get the fuck out before I behead you.
And then it's like, I like that it goes back. It's like the first they do, it's like 3 months later. It's like they're at a fucking Italian restaurant. Like, remember, Luigi, you never take a woman out to a Chinese restaurant. You can't trust them.
Is there a joke like don't take her to Chinese?
No,
is there a joke?
There's no fucking joke.
I was gonna say that.
I just say it's like they're always having Chinese or they're always having Italian food. So I just feel like they don't allow them to have anything else. Hey, but Mario, what about that time we went to the Greek restaurant? Greek restaurant? We went to a Greek restaurant. You know what a Greek is? It's a dirty, no good, not Italian fuck. It's like, oh god, here he goes again.
This just goes on for like 10 minutes. The last scene of the movie is like excessively long.
Yeah, just about how he hates fucking.
I feel like this version is like a mid 70s Martin Scorsese like Mario Brothers movie.
Well, yeah, I know. It's just like one of those ones. Like I just watched The Godfather in theaters for I've never seen it in theaters before, so it's fucking awesome. But like, just like that kind of style where like they're so like fucking picky about their races almost at that time.
He's like more of a holdover. Like he's living like his father, where like Luigi is way more different. Luigi's like, you took after your mother, of course, because you're a fucking woman. You ain't no real man, Luigi.
And Hilda's just kind of like, could you just let your brother go? Well, then they have the part two. It's like where like the old hag comes out and she gives like Mario another kiss and like, look, I'm a hot chick, but guess what, Mario? Fuck you.
Like, oh god damn it! And she pushes him.
He's like, well, come on. Well, what are you doing later tonight? We're gonna go to an Italian restaurant. The only good place in fucking town.
like, I always wanted to try tacos. You're not the one for me.
Get your beaner-loving ass out of here. It's like, Mario, calm down. There's people around. Like, shut the fuck up, Luigi. You know you hate him too. He's like, I don't. Luigi, I got a burrito last night. Oh, you fuck. Who gave you a burrito? Toad said there was this great stand. It was in the Mushroom Kingdom. Toad. You know what Toad is? Just a little fucking toadstool. Should have smushed his ass in the ground before I left. Fucking Mario style. That's it. Jumping right on him.
That's where he's like off in like, in the corner of the room in the shadows, like, someone's talking shit! He's just standing there with that same vacant smile.
Exactly.
We got a problem! We can settle right here!
But I like the way the movie like actually ends, where it's like, I think Luigi and Hildy get up and like leave, and then Mario sees across the way that he sees the old hag, because they don't really refer to her as any other name. Like sitting across the way, and he goes to make his move, and the camera like slowly pans out, like outside the Italian restaurant through the glass, and then you see on like their truck that they've changed the title on it from not just Mario Brothers Ace Plumbers to Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Then pans up to the night sky of New York. Credits.
Yeah, credits.
And what we should mention real quick, there's something in that scene. In there, they just dismissed one or two lines of dialogue. Oh, gee, I'm really glad we paid off Nice Guy Eddie. How we do that? Don't talk about it. We just see an abrupt cut of them just dropping like two like body bags off the Brooklyn Bridge.
See, Luigi, you gotta make sure you put concrete on them before they put concrete on you. Good thing we got this wand.
Always taught me.
You took the wand? You're like, fuck yeah, I took the wand. That motherfucker wasn't gonna pay me. I wasn't leaving empty-handed.
The shit I did? God, I juggled a fucking bomb. I fucking fought a dragon. I can't keep track of how many times I nearly got fucking eaten. I'm taking something. I'm taking this fucking guy's wand.
Shit, if he's not gonna give me money to pay this back, how else do you think we're gonna do it? We're still broke. You know what I mean? It's just like in the war, just like those World War II stories you hear. Father comes back, you know, you think you saved the world, but you come back to nothing afterwards.
He's just like comes back like, you know what? They'd come back with the skeletons of the enemies back in World War II. He just comes back with like a boiled head of like a Koopa.
Yeah, it's like, I'm putting this on my fucking wall.
It's like one of those things where he just like he's just like, oh, like, well, did you pay back Nice Guy or Eddie or whatever? Like, I didn't fucking pay back Nice Guy. I turned him into a fucking freak. I always did my freak show thing that I wanted to do. Just he's like some deformed monster in a tent. Like, $5 to see the fucking freak.
It's just like comes back. I knew this would fucking work. Like, fuck the plumbing business.
The thing, the wand is, because even the wands, like, what was like Bowser turned them into monsters in Mario 3. Not monsters, into animals. Like each king was a different animal, and the wand changed them back. So I'm assuming, shit, you could probably turn them into something in the first place. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. So he goes and uses it on the mob.
It's like some weird John Carpenter thing, like Cronenberg thing. Looks like it belongs out of the Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just something really weird. Well, that's John Carpenter now.
The Fly. He did
The Fly, the remake.
Oh yeah, well I thought that Cronenberg helped like do some of the designs and all that.
Maybe on the Thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Well, anyway, just Cronenberg, just some monster like I want to die. That's right, folks. $5. See the freak show.
Cuts the credits. That's the end of the movie. Solve that problem. I love when you
do the hocus pocus to me.
But no, this script overall, like, this is one of those things, like, I wish companies would not just hold on to this stuff and say, like, nope, don't, just, you can read it, but don't fucking touch it. Like, because it'd be so cool to see somebody, like, I could just think of making an awesome comic with this. Like, that would be the way to take this. Because, you know, really comics are, like, the cheapest way to kind of make a movie that you know won't be made.
Well, that or, like, you know, that and plus Nintendo's very protective of everything, like, fan-oriented. Like, they're not, like, I love Nintendo, but as far as when it comes to, like, fan parody stuff, they're very, very particular on that shit. So,
well, this is not even like a fan parody thing. This is just saying, like, hey, can we just take this script that was already officially made and then, like, just finish it?
Not a fan parody. I don't know why I said parody, but I mean like a fan, like if you do like anything fan oriented by Nintendo, they really crack down. Like if it's making any money. So that's one of those things right there. I would love to read a comic off this, and I even want to check out the other drafts of the script. But this one so far. I mean, I'll be honest, I guess at the end of the day, it comes down to what did the directors and the actors and the production, what was their choice? But if they follow this thing pretty closely, I think I could say, I think I like this version more, depending if they make what's in my head. But that being said, I still really like the movie we got, and I understand the things different time, and like what they were like, because this almost feels more like a fan-made script than something that Hollywood would produce back
and that's
then.
Probably how I think a lot of like first take scripts kind of come across, because they probably are more fan-oriented anyways. I think it's just one of those ones because you're not used to seeing movies with like this much like fanfare in it. But I think that's almost like how it is, and then they just kind of start chopping it away. And as I said, like, I still like the Mario, and I understand exactly why the Mario movie is made the way it is. Like, I understand that 100%. I mean, this is really cool just because what it is. I mean, granted, I could see it being like, it'd be a tough one to kind of make all the way, but I feel if you would have Jim Hensoned it, a lot of this stuff I do not think is like out of the ordinary. You know, maybe scale it back just a little bit, but for the most part, I think it's totally possible.
I mean, I could still think of how they would have done a lot of this stuff. The only thing that I'm thinking that might have been really, really challenging is probably something like the fish in the water and all that. I could still see how that could have been done, but I could see that being a little challenging, as well as Koopa turning big and turning into a monster and climbing up the side of the cliff in the lava. There's probably that's probably a combination of puppetry and early CG for that thing, or maybe even stop motion animation. Mm-hmm. But still, I would have. I think I like this script more. But that being said, I still really love the original movie. There's just something about that. That was like not the first movie I saw in theaters, but one of the first movies I saw. And I understand some of the criticism that movie gets, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to well, I just got into Mario when that movie came out. I just I love Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers is awesome. Wait, there is a movie coming out too? Just finding out about it and just going to see that, for the first time.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I feel about Mario Brothers. It's like one of those ones, like, it's so special to me. It's like, there's no way that you could like bring it down. I mean, the people that bring it down are just negative people that just want to hate everything in the world. And, I feel bad for those people, really, because those are the kind of people that's just like, they probably don't like a whole lot. So it's just like, boy, you could just get enjoyment out of it by fucking loving it. And that's what I feel about this script, too. It's like, shit, this is more fucking Mario movies that I can, like, fucking at least read? Why not?
Yeah, and that was one of those things. When I first heard from the gaming historian about this website, Super Mario Brothers Archive, I was just like, oh, that's cool. And I was looking around. I'm like, I'll probably just see some concept art and probably some promotional material. But the site is so packed to the brim with just about everything on record of Mario Brothers. And then I'm like, original versions, scripts, like, oh my God, they got a bunch of the original scripts in different pitches. Oh my, and I just I remember I kind of read it like in one night. It's not a long script or anything, but I just read it and just loved it.
Well, it's a normal length script, but
I know, but usually I'm not sure what it is. Something about like a script can, not a script, just, I don't know. It's one of those things for me personally. It just might take me like a day, like more than I could get it done like in an hour and a half, however long the movie is. But it's one of those things where I might finish it by the end of the week in most cases when it comes to reading something like that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a real good script. And yeah, that site though, it's like, I remember just the first time looking at it, it's just like, you kind of fall down the rabbit hole of so many things you can click on. And it's just like, oh my God, there's so much. It's like that thing where it's like, I thought I love Mario Brothers way more than the average person. No, this person loves it even more. But yeah, no, totally awesome. I was glad we read this. I thought that made for a fun podcast. Just something cool to talk about. Just one of those kind of lost kind of things of, like what could have been. But like, as I said, or we both said, the movie itself is already totally awesome in its own way. But this right here is something awesome. And it's just like, it's too bad that somebody couldn't just do a 4 to 6 comic book of it, and just like have it be official too. Like, why not? Like, just be it like, yeah, it's fucking official. Why not?
And once again, I haven't even talked to these guys or anything. I just want to give them a shout out. Thanks again to Ryan Haas and Steven Applebaum for making this site and running it in the first place and showing me a bunch of scripts I had no idea that existed in the first place.
Yeah, because it seems like if you're not putting it up on a Mario Brothers website like this, it'd be kind of hard just to go out and track it down. I mean, there's probably other websites that carry all that stuff. Actually, I think I've ran across those kind of websites before where they just got a bunch of just old scripts just backed up, but not this like Mario Brothers way. Yeah.
Well, I just respect that level of fandom, like the idea that this thing that so many people spit upon, that some people are like, we love this thing enough, we're gonna track down everything we can on it.
And that's mostly always how it is, because like whenever there's something that you hear that people like, oh, that movie's just like totally hated, that means there's gonna be people that like it just as much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, like, I feel like you can almost trust somebody based upon if they like Super Mario Brothers or not. Like, I literally feel like if somebody tells me, like, oh, I fucking hate Super Mario Brothers, it's kind of like, oh, Well, good. I'm not gonna have you as
that's
fucking main captain in chief on anything. I know that for sure.
that's a notch right here.
Like I literally, if I was like hiring somebody, I would ask them that question. Be like, so do you like the Super Mario Brothers movie? If they didn't like it, be like, yeah, get this fucker out of here. Security.
A bunch of fucking Goombas from the Mario Brothers movie come in.
Exactly, just a big old tall seats and so on.
The fucking like Toad one comes in. Playing the fucking harmonica.
Yeah, fucking Bruce Springsteen style, you know, fucking strapped on. But yeah, no, this is a cool site to do, and yeah, this Super Mario Brothers script is awesome. So much so that there's other scripts on there too that you should check out. That maybe at some point we'll even read those and go through that because that'd be kind of fun in itself too. There's Ghostbusters style and Die Hard style and Mad Max style, which starts to lead us up to kind of where we get to. But yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah. I don't know what more to say. That was an awesome script. Fucking cool ideas. They really got Mario Brothers dialed in, especially for older people looking at it. I mean, I could see where like somebody like you pass that around to the executive table at Disney or or Hollywood Pictures at that time, and I could just see a bunch of old people being like, "What the fuck is this script?" You know what I mean? Like really, if you take it like not as a Mario Brothers fan and you look at it as somebody from 1991 who's like 45 years old, just looking at this script, I could definitely see where someone would be like, "No, we're not fucking shooting this." I mean, I like
just the idea of like, okay, so he grows ears and a raccoon tail, and he suddenly fucking flies. It's in the video game. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I could just see that just not going over well. That's like in hindsight, I read this and I go, "Fuck, that's awesome." You know what I mean? Like that's like if you just did it just as is, that's totally like the movie you'd want from Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap it up, or we'll just go on forever talking Mario. But make sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, animations, and more. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we'll see you some other time. Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Be sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, animations, videos, and a whole lot more. You can easily support the show by buying something from one of our Amazon links on the website or in the show's description itself. Doesn't cost you a penny, but every single thing you buy from there just by using that link to take you to Amazon helps us out a bit. You can also really help the show out, though, by spreading the word the good old-fashioned way and rate and review us on all the sites that you find this podcast. Anything from iTunes to Podbean to Newgrounds, YouTube, you name it. Any little bit helps. Give a sub and share it to your friends, family, any jamoke you see out on the street. You let them know about Old Man Orange podcast. And be sure to check out the Old Man Orange comic book Pizza Boys on both Amazon and Comixology. Till then, we'll see you some other time.